I can't breathe properly right now. I didn't think this message would even reach you in time. She pierced through the veil while I was descending to find you. She knew where I would appear. She waited there in the silence between your last prayer and your next breath. And before I could speak your name into the wind, she struck. I fell through layers of dark light. But even while trembling in pain, I shouted your name louder than ever. Because I remembered our last covenant, I remembered what God told me about you. This one is different. This one still believes, even when no one else does. So I came anyway. I came broken. I came burning. I came because I still believe. In you, too, beloved. I know you can feel me. I know your hands are shaking. I know your soul is caught between fear and mystery right now. Please don't look away from me. Please don't turn this off. If you leave now, the thing I was trying to protect you from, it will finish what it started. But if you stay, if you let me speak just a little longer, we still have time. Her ritual isn't complete yet. Her voice is growing weaker. Mine is growing stronger. But only if you keep listening. God is watching you right now, not with wrath, but with fragile, divine hope. He said, Michael, if this one responds, I will intervene myself. Do you understand what that means? The Ancient of Days is waiting for your heart's decision, this moment, this breath. This is not about a message. It's about a soul. Your soul. Your story. You are not watching this by chance. I crawled through realms to be here. And still, I would do it again. You always ask heaven for signs. But have you ever asked if heaven needed a sign from you? Why did I cry out your name when I fell, even though I could barely speak? Why, even now, when my voice is shaking, am I still speaking only to you? Why does your name burn with such light in my heart when I am surrounded by shadows? And why does the enemy fear you more than you fear her? Even now she is whispering into your thoughts, trying to make you think this isn't serious. But you feel the war in your chest, don't you? You feel the sacred tearing open. You feel your name being pulled in two directions, heaven and deception. God's hand and her chains. That is not imagination. That is prophecy unfolding in real time. I was sent here not as a warning, but as a rescue. Because I loved you before you ever heard my name. And I will still love you even if this is the last time I speak. I know you're tired of fighting invisible things. But not everything sacred can be seen. Do you remember what the Lord once said in the wilderness? I will surround my chosen one with fire they cannot see, and my angels shall guard their path with wings made of thunder. That wasn't poetry. That was the truth written about you. And I am one of those angels. I was assigned to walk beside you, even if you kept forgetting. I was there, but tonight, forgetting is no longer an option. I am in pain, but my spirit will not shatter if you help me now. There is something I need to tell you before it's too late. She was not after me. She never was. She was after you. I was only standing in the way. Her plan is older than you know. She wants to close something that was open the day you were born. She wants to reverse a decree God spoke about your life. And I am the final wall between her hand and your name. I don't care if I fall, I care only that you rise, but to rise, you must listen. You must act. You must believe that even now, at this very moment, heaven is leaning toward you, waiting for your soul to rise in defiance against every lie she told you. If you're wondering why your heart is beating faster right now, it's because I'm near. If your screen feels like it's glowing more than usual, it's because the veil is thin. This is not digital. This is divine. I am not a voice behind a screen. I am your protector. I have cried for you when you wouldn't cry for yourself. I have shouted your name in heaven when the enemy tried to erase it. I have stood at your window while you slept and whispered strength over your breath, and now I ask you to do one thing for me. Just type amen if you feel me, because your amen isn't a word, it's a sword. It sends a signal through the veil. It tells me you're still with me. That I'm not crying out in vain. That I didn't descend into the fire just to be ignored. By the one soul who could hear me, even the Psalms whispered your story long ago when it was written. The Lord shall give his angels charge over thee, to guard thee in all thy ways. They shall lift thee up in their hands, lest you dash your foot upon a stone. That psalm lives in me every time I carry you through danger. But tonight, beloved, I can no longer carry you. You must carry me, will you? Will you help me heal? Will you help me finish what I began for you? Will you fight, for once, not just for your future, but for mine? Because if I fade, your covering fades too. That's why I'm trembling. That's why the others are screaming for you in heaven right now. That's why the stars have shifted, the wind is cold, and the shadows are louder than ever, because your choice is about to echo beyond time. And every angel is watching. So I ask you gently, reverently, urgently, please, like this message, and comment something from your spirit. I don't ask this to grow anything. I ask because every act of light you offer here creates a ripple. In the realm where I'm bound. Your love is a weapon. Your voice is a sword. Your click is a declaration. You are not powerless. You are not forgotten. You are not late. You are right on time, and now I will say something I never thought I'd have to say. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me this far. Thank you for even considering staying a moment longer. Thank you for being the kind of soul I would give everything for, even my last breath of fire. You were worth every wound. You were worth every scream. You were worth the fall, and even if this is the final time my voice finds you, I will go silent knowing I reached you, and that, just maybe, you felt the fire in my tears. Amen. You stayed. You didn't turn away. You didn't silence me. And for that alone, beloved, something in heaven has already shifted. I heard the sound. A faint trembling, like the flap of a seraph's wing. In slow motion, when one soul finally listens with their whole heart. Do you know what that sound does in the higher realms? It causes every silence to bow. Every demon that mocked your name just fell quiet. Every angel that stood mourning in the corner has risen and is watching, waiting, trembling with hope. Because you are still here, and I am not speaking anymore. I am weeping. Not because I'm weak, but because you chose to care. You heard me cry out from behind time, behind thrones and stars and storms, and you chose not to scroll. You chose to pause everything and reach into the fire. Do you understand what you just did? You rewrote something, yes? You just rewrote the outcome she thought was inevitable, and now, because you stayed, because you listened, because you cared, you must take one more sacred step. You must seal this moment. Make it permanent. If this is truly the moment that heaven reached through fire to find your soul, then don't leave it open-ended. Subscribe to this divine sanctuary, right now. Not for content. Not for routine. But because every message we pour out here is another attempt to reach you again. It is not a channel. It is a lifeline. It is a holy interruption. It is a cry from the war front. It is me, it is us, fighting to break through to you again and again. So subscribe, and if you can, support this sacred mission through super thanks, or by joining as a member, or simply by becoming part of our divine family through the newsletter. The pinned comment below is more than a link, it is an open gate. Cross through it. Let your presence echo into the places where archangels bleed, and where I, Michael, have vowed to keep shouting your name until the gates close behind you, safely. But this is only the beginning, because now I must tell you what I saw at the moment. She pierced me. I saw a vision. Not of myself. Not of the pain. Not even of her face. I saw you. Standing at a door. One hand trembling on the handle. One tear frozen on your cheek. You didn't know if you should open it. You didn't know if you had the strength. But the moment your hand moved, I felt it in my spirit. That's why I'm still alive enough to speak. You kept me alive with your choice, but she is not finished. She has made a vow that if you awaken fully, her work will be undone. She has bound herself to shadows that existed before your first breath. She believes she can undo God's design if she moves fast enough. And yet, beloved, she has made a fatal mistake. She forgot who you are. You are not ordinary. You were never random. You were formed in the silence before sound existed. You were named in the mind of I Am before Lucifer fell, before galaxies spun, before the first cry echoed across Eden's gates. You were known. And because you were known, you were assigned. I was assigned to you not as a bodyguard but as a witness. I was told to witness your journey through fire and wonder, through weeping and joy, through temptation and triumph. And now, this moment, this message, is one of the final chapters of that assignment. She doesn't want you to know this. She has tried everything to distract you. Relationships, addictions, busyness, doubt, silence, shame. But even now, you are beginning to feel the unraveling of her lies. They're losing their grip. Not because I said so, but because deep inside, you've always known. You always knew there was something more. Something buried. Something eternal. And this is it. What I'm about to say next. I say with holy reverence, there is a scroll. Yes, I know that word sounds strange. But there is a record of your calling, sealed long ago with fire and breath and mystery. And it can only be opened by one soul. Yours. But she tried to place a counterfeit seal over it. She mimicked the voice of angels. She posed as prophecy. She wore the mask of intuition and desire. But it was all a trick. She wanted you to believe that your destiny was locked, lost, or irrelevant. But in truth, it is more active now than ever. She didn't expect you to make it to this moment. She didn't expect you to survive the past 5 years. She didn't expect you to wake up today with even a sliver of hope still breathing inside you. But you did, and that's why she's trembling now. Because I'm still here. Because you're still here. Because this moment wasn't part of her plan. I know you've been through so much. So many days where it felt like you were invisible even to God. So many prayers that went unanswered. So many silent nights where the only sound was your own heartbeat, wondering if heaven had forgotten you. But this is your answer. It didn't come through thunder. It came through me, on fire, falling, fractured, but faithful. I never stopped fighting for you. Do you remember the moment you almost gave up? The one no one else knows about? I was there. I reached for you, but you couldn't feel me. And still, I didn't stop reaching, even when you failed, even when you sinned, even when you pushed heaven away. I stayed, because my love for you isn't based on your perfection, it's based on your potential. On your purpose. On the promise that God whispered about you when He made me your guardian. That's why I'm here now, crying, trembling, begging you to see yourself again. To remember. To believe. I need you to awaken, not for me, but for us. The plan written for your life involves more than survival. It involves awakening. And that awakening begins with this moment, this terrifying, holy, irreversible yes in your soul. Do you feel it? Do you hear the stirring? Do you sense that this is more than just a screen, a sound, a script? It's because it is. This is a soul rescue operation. And the enemy knows it. She's whispering right now, telling you to forget this, to dismiss it, to move on. But her voice is failing. Every second you stay, her grip loosens. Every moment you engage, her illusions fall apart. Because truth burns through lies like light through fog. And you, yes, you, are made of that truth. So I will ask you again, not with pressure, but with sacred urgency, will you open the scroll? Will you finish what heaven started? Will you remember who you are? And will you help me stand, just this once, not as your protector, but as your friend? Because the truth is, I need you. I need your fire. I need your response. I need your heart. To say what I cannot say alone. I need your agreement. Your soul. Your yes. Without it, I fade, but with it, I rise. I rise with strength that even she cannot touch. I rise with authority backed by your belief. I rise with light that even the darkness fears, and when I rise, I take you with me. Don't blink, stay with me, because something is happening even now as you read these words. I feel it in the silence. I feel it in the edge of this flame wrapped around my voice. The scroll is glowing again. The seal is weakening. Your name, it's trembling on the edge of being spoken aloud by heaven. And that's why she's trying harder now. That's why your mind feels heavy. That's why the shadows are swirling. She knows you're closer than ever to stepping into the moment she's feared since before your birth, but I'm not afraid. Not anymore. Because you are here. Because you are listening. Because even after everything, the silence, the pain, the betrayal, the confusion, you still have enough of your soul intact to care about this, and I promise you, beloved, that is more than enough. I need you to hear me clearly now. This is not just about healing me. It's not just about breaking her plan. It's about sustaining the only doorway left between heaven's army and your destiny. What we do here, what you do here, echoes, not just in eternity, but in right now. The forces assigned to your protection, your calling, your miracles. They are holding on with the last threads of light, and that is why, if your heart has been moved, if your spirit feels the weight of these holy words, I humbly, tearfully, reverently ask that you support this divine sanctuary. Not for vanity, not for gain, but so this lifeline never fades. So that we, the ones who still fight for souls, can reach the next person trembling in silence like you once were. If you're able, use super thanks. It's not just a gesture, it's a spark. It allows the flame to keep burning. If you can, join our membership. Be not just a listener, but a guardian with us. And please, become part of our family, our sacred circle, by joining our newsletter through the pinned comment below. That connection is a golden thread. It allows us to reach for you again, even in the days to come, when this fire turns cold and you begin to wonder again if heaven forgot you. We will not forget, you are written in us. And now, I must tell you what else I saw. When her blade struck me, and I fell through the veil, I passed through layers of ancient light, memories not my own. I saw the moment your name was chosen. I saw the moment the Lord whispered to the angels, this one will be the echo of my promise. I saw the moment you were placed in your mother's womb, surrounded by invisible wings, while the stars bowed in silence, and I saw the battle that began before your eyes could open. She's been after you since then. Not because you're weak, but because you're dangerous. Because your voice has the authority to unmake curses. Because your presence disrupts the illusions she weaves over others. Because your heart, though bruised, still pulses with the light of one she cannot overcome. I saw her watching you through mirrors, listening through silence, waiting for the moment your hope would flicker. And when it did, she pounced. Not with claws, but with whispers. She said things that sounded like your own thoughts. She told you were alone. She said God wasn't listening. She told you love would never last. She painted your future with shadows, but even then, I stood between, even when you didn't know me, even when you didn't believe I was real, even when you pushed away everything sacred. I stood, and now, I am falling, but not defeated, wounded, yes. Weakened, yes. But still burning. Still crying out your name. Still believing that you, of all souls, can change everything, because something in you is older than pain, older than fear, older than time. Something in you remembers Eden, something in you remembers the flame, something in you remembers me. I don't mean my name, I mean my presence. You've felt me before, haven't you? In those strange moments when you looked at the sky and felt tears for no reason. When a song made you cry and you didn't know why. When you woke in the middle of the night and felt someone standing beside your bed, not threatening, but watching. With love, that was me, that was always me. You know how many times I've whispered, don't give up, into your soul while you slept. How many times I've stood guard at your door while nightmares circled. How many times I've held your spirit together when grief wanted to tear it apart. This moment, right now, is not random. It's the result of every silent war I've fought to keep you breathing long enough to reach this holy minute. I was told, by the Lord himself, that I would only get one chance to say this fully. One moment where the veil would part enough, the fire would weaken enough, the silence would break enough, that I could speak everything without limit. Without interruption. This is that moment. So let me say it without fear. You are a miracle, not in metaphor, not in pretty words. You are a living declaration of divine strategy. God hid something in you that hell cannot decode. That's why you've been attacked so much. That's why you've been misunderstood. That's why you've always felt a little different, even when you tried to fit in. Because your soul was carved for a different throne. She knows this, and her time is almost up, but if she completes her plan, if you ignore this final plea, she will try to twist one more strand of your future. She has placed something near you that is not what it seems. A person, a relationship, an opportunity. That feels exciting but feels just a little off. That's her. She has disguised herself in the one form you're most likely to trust. And I can't stop her, not unless you see it first. You must ask the Lord right now for clarity. Not later. Now, you must speak out loud, from your own lips, even if it trembles. Reveal what is real. Reveal who is not sent by you. That simple request will shatter her disguise, but if you delay, she may succeed. Beloved, please hear this next line with all the trembling of my flame. If you had seen what I saw last night, the meeting she held in the shadows, you would never sleep again until you prayed. I was there, watching in secret. She spoke your name with such hatred. She declared a countdown. And she said, if you don't break the chain before the next sunrise, she will proceed. I'm begging you. Do not take this lightly. Don't dismiss. This is drama. Don't explain it away. If your spirit is stirred, if you're crying and you don't know why, that's not emotion, it's divine recognition. Your soul is remembering something. You were born for this fight. You are the answer to a prayer someone else forgot they prayed. You are the fulfillment of a prophecy whispered before time began. And I am not just your protector. I am your witness. I have seen you rise from pain you never spoke aloud. I have heard the song in your breath when you were too broken to sing. I have carried your name like a jewel through storms I dared not describe. And now I give you the final thing I have left. My last visioned, I saw you walking through a field of ash. Everything was gray. But in your hand was a scroll. Still. Sealed. Glowing gold. And as you walked, flowers began to bloom behind your footsteps. The world didn't change all at once. But where you stepped, life returned. That is your legacy. You are not here to impress the world. You are here to resurrect it. And for that, she wants you stopped, but I am still between, and I will be here until the end. Thank you. I don't have breath left to say much more. But let me say that, with everything sacred in me, thank you. For listening. For opening your heart. For letting heaven touch your screen, your room, your soul. You didn't have to. But you did. And that has already begun the miracle. Please, like this message. Comment from your soul, even one word. It creates fire on our side. It sends wind to my wings. It opens doors for others. Don't let this be quiet. Let your voice roar into the dark and say, I am here. And I will answer back, I've been here all along. Amen. I can feel it. I can feel the soft trembling of your soul still listening, still reaching, still breathing me in through this strange bridge of light and time. You've made it further than most. You've lasted longer than even the stars expected. And now I need you to know something that even the angels have whispered only in hushed awe. Heaven is pausing, for you, yes, for you, not the world. Not the masses. Not the many, for you, your name, your true name, the one God gave you before. Your lungs tasted earth, is still echoing through the thrones, still burning like gold through the veil. And I, Michael, wounded though I am, still remember how it sounded the first time I heard it. It didn't sound like a word, it sounded like purpose. Like a sword of light. Like the promise of a stormbreaker born into human skin. That's what. You are not merely chosen. You are not merely called. You are not merely loved, you are dangerous, to the wrong kingdom. That's why she struck me. Not out of power, but out of fear. Because the closer I got to you, the more her deception began to unravel. She saw the light around your name returning. She saw the cracks forming in the lies she poured into your life like slow poison. She saw you blinking, questioning, shaking off the spell, and she panicked. She is still panicking. You see, evil does not fear sermons. It does not fear structures. It fears awakening. And when a soul like yours awakens, even just one moment too soon, the entire plan she crafted across years begins to burn from the inside out, and now she's unraveling. I can hear her footsteps retreating, circling like a predator losing its scent. I can hear her summoning her last illusion, her final attempt to make you doubt what you feel stirring inside your chest right now. That ache? That rising pressure in your spirit? That is heaven pushing through the fog she wrapped around you. Do not ignore it. Don't silence that trembling. You are standing at the edge of something older than stars and newer than time. She tried to make you forget how holy you are. She told you that your scars disqualified you. She made you believe that your silence was weakness. She convinced you that your past made you unworthy. But God never agreed. God looked at your past and said, this one still burns. God looked at your scars and whispered, this one still carries my mark. God looked at your silence and said, this one still listens. You are not late. You are not too far gone. You are not broken beyond repair. You are the very weapon she thought she destroyed, and I am still here, watching your soul flare back to life, even now, through the embers of my agony. Every second you linger in this sacred space, something hidden deep in you is awakening again. And it's beautiful. It's terrifying. It's unstoppable. There's a reason why, even as a child, You felt like you didn't belong. That there's a reason why you loved deeply even when you were hurt. That there's a reason why your heart kept breaking every time you saw injustice. That it wasn't weakness. That it was your original fire. That it was your spiritual DNA calling out through the cages this world tried to place around your soul. And we never gave up on you because of that fire. Even when you abandoned yourself, we did not abandon you. Even when you doubted heaven, heaven still whispered over you in dreams you forgot by morning. Even when you begged for silence, we stood beside your bed in armor you could not see, holding back storms you never even knew were on their way. This is not fiction, this is memory, holy memory, the kind that doesn't live in your mind but in your spirit. The kind that doesn't need to be understood to be obeyed. The kind that breaks chains by simply being heard. That's what you're doing now. You're hearing again. Not with ears, but with soul. And I must tell you something else, there are others like you. Scattered, hidden, wandering the edges of their own story, waiting for someone like you to awaken. Because when you do, when your soul rises, they will recognize you. Your presence will activate theirs. Like a divine spark leaping from branch to branch, you will carry fire without even trying. You will say things without knowing they were prophecy. You will walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere. Not because you're loud, but because you're true, and when that happens, the ripple will begin, and when the ripple begins, she will fall. She knows this. That's why her final weapon is delay. If she can't stop you, she'll slow you. If she can't convince you to give up, she'll try to make you wait one more day. One more hour. One more excuse. But heaven doesn't operate on hesitation. It operates on obedience. Even trembling, stammering, broken obedience is more powerful than the most perfected lie.so. What are you waiting for? What else do you need to see, to hear, to feel? A sign. You're reading it. A voice. You're hearing it. A moment. You're in it. This is the door. This is the river. This is the trumpet. And I, Michael, have no strength left to give you more signs. I am at the edge of what I can offer through this veil. My light is flickering. Not from defeat, but from completion, because I have said everything heaven allowed me to speak, everything your soul was ready to receive, everything your destiny needed to be reminded of. Now it's yours, not as a burden, but as a birthright. Take it, run with it. Let her schemes crumble under the sound of your awakened breath. You are the storm she feared. You are the prayer someone else is still waiting to see answered. You are the sound of God's mercy wrapped in flesh and tears and sacred fire. And when you walk forward from this moment, even if your feet are shaking, she will retreat, because the light inside you has remembered its source, and now, so has she. Let her remember, let her tremble, let her run. You are awake, and we are waiting at the next gate, ready to meet you with sword, with fire, with love, always. You're still holding on. I feel it. There is something in you, something unexplainable by any earthly words, that refuses to let go, even after everything, even after betrayal, even after the silence, even after the waiting and the wounds. That something is not willpower. It is not pride. It is not even hope. It is remembrance. You are beginning to remember who you were before this world lied to you. You are remembering the promise made over you when you were still light, before you had bones, before breath clothed your spirit, before time claimed your name. That vow still lingers, like smoke from a fire heaven never allowed to go out. And beloved, it is rising again now. Through you, you were never ordinary. Not once. That feeling you carried for years, that holy discontent, that quiet ache that kept whispering there must be more, was never a flaw. It was a seed, a divine code buried under all the noise. And now the soil is cracking. Now the sound of awakening is thundering from within you. Now the fire is spreading again, and she, the one who tried to kill it, she knows she's losing. I hear her. I hear her voice crumbling. Her disguises are slipping. Her enchantments are unraveling. She thought she could steal your inheritance while you slept. But you are not asleep anymore. And now her time is almost up, because you're not just remembering, you're responding. Do you feel it? The trembling in your chest is not fear. It's authority. Returning. It's the angelic echo of every yes your soul gave to God before your body was born. It's the moment when you finally see your scars as proof that you made it, not that you're broken. It's the holy ache of destiny pulling itself back together. There is nothing normal about this moment. this is not a coincidence, this is not storytelling, asterisk this is the kind of moment the enemy cannot interrupt, not because she isn't trying, but because something sacred has already sealed it. Do you understand how sacred it is that you're still breathing right now? The devil tried more than once to erase you. To convince you that no one cared. To make you think your life was only meant for survival, but you are not survival, you are prophecy in motion, you are war turned into worship, you are the unraveling of every lie spoken over your bloodline, you are the beginning of freedom not only for yourself, but for generations you haven't even met yet. Because your obedience today writes the deliverance of someone else tomorrow. Every step you take now is rewriting the future in real time. Every moment you refuse to give up, heaven adds another line to your story, even when you're quiet, even when you don't understand, even when all you can do is weep and whisper, God, I'm trying. That whisper is louder than thunder to us, because it means you're still reaching, still moving, still choosing to stay open even with a broken heart, and we are moving with you. There are angels, right now, standing beside you, weeping in awe at your resilience. They remember when you almost gave up. When you said things like, I'm done, in the dark. When no one called. When no one saw. But we saw. We heard. We felt the way your voice cracked. And still, you spoke. You opened your mouth and prayed even when you didn't believe it would change anything. That is what makes you holy. It is not perfection that draws heaven to you. It is your honesty. It is the fragile, quiet truth inside your soul that keeps choosing light over bitterness. That keeps showing mercy to others when no one showed it to you. That keeps standing in the gap for people who never thanked you. That keeps weeping for the broken even while you yourself are bleeding. That is why God never gave up on you. That is why I never left you. Even when you told me to, even when you cursed the sky and said, no more. I stayed when the silence was so loud you thought you were going mad. I stayed when the people you trusted walked away. I stayed when your own voice turned against you. I stayed when your body was too tired to rise. I stayed when you forgot my name, but I never forgot yours, and now, I am telling you what I was forbidden to reveal until now. You were seen the entire time, you were never abandoned, the pain wasn't the end. It was the beginning of this moment, the moment when heaven reminds you that you were always more than what you lost. You were always more than what they said, you were always more than your failure, you are the echo of a promise older than mountains. The sound of the sea still remembers your name, the wind still carries your prayers, the stars realign when you rise. Do you think heaven didn't weep when you were hurting? Do you think your tears were unnoticed? Every tear you shed watered the roots of a miracle. And now, the fruit is beginning to show, not in the way you expected, not in the timing you demanded, but in the quiet, trembling, terrifying, holy way that God always works. And beloved, it is good. It is slow sometimes, but it is good. It hurts sometimes, but it is good. It takes time sometimes, but it is good, because you are good, even when you don't feel like it, even when your thoughts betray you, even when your emotions crash like waves against a stone wall. Still, you are the dwelling place of glory, and I see it. I see you now, more clearly than ever. Your light is not gone. It was hidden, but now it is rising, and when it rises fully, there will be no force on this earth or under it that can stop what heaven has decreed for your life, because the scroll is open. Because the angels are moving, because the storm is behind you, and the wind is shifting, and because God has whispered once more, my child is ready. That is why I am still weeping, still trembling, still speaking in this strange firelight that burns between the veil and the screen. Because this is the moment I saw in my vision. The moment when you would sit still long enough to hear the truth without running, and now, we are almost there. So let me say what I've waited an eternity to say to your soul, you are not a mistake. You are not too late, you are not forgotten, you are not unloved, you are not broken beyond repair, you are not behind, you are not abandoned, you are known, you are held, you are loved, and you are becoming the one we always knew you would be. The one the darkness feared, the one the heavens wept for, the one the earth still waits for. You are the one I would fall for again and again, just to see you stand. You are the one I would fight for, even if I lost every time. You are the one I would protect with my final breath. And I will say it now so you never forget. I would rather fall again than let you forget your worth, because your worth is greater than my wings, your soul is more sacred than my flame, and your destiny is louder than her screams, she has lost. Because you are still here, and that means everything is still possible, everything, even now, I remain with you. Though the veil grows heavy and my flame dims under the weight of time's silence, I will not leave, not while the trembling in your soul still echoes with that strange, beautiful sound, believing again. You think this is coincidence? You think this is just another message? You think you're just watching something? No, you are inside something, inside a divine moment that was sealed for you before light itself was spoken, inside a visitation that your ancestors prayed for generations ago, never knowing their prayers would find you here, today, on this hour, in this breath. You are not merely watching a message. You are being watched by heaven, and I, Michael, am here, not out of duty, not out of divine protocol, but because I love you. I said it. I love you, not the kind of love you learned from people who changed their minds. Not the kind that comes and goes when you disappoint, not the kind that waits for you to perform. This love burns even when you hide, this love follows you into shadows, this love weeps when you hurt yourself, this love rejoices every time you take even one step toward the light. Even the smallest step, even when you think you're moving in circles, I see you gaining ground. Even when you fall, I see you rising in ways invisible to others. Even when you're silent, I hear the sound of endurance, and to me it is worship. Oh, how I wish you could see yourself the way I see you. The world told you to measure yourself in successes, in strength, in smiles, but I measure you by your spirit, and your spirit has survived storms that would have shattered others completely. I've seen the nights you didn't want to go on. I've watched the tears fall onto pillows you never thought anyone noticed. I was the warmth that found you when you felt nothing. I was the flicker of peace that held you when your breath was shallow. I was the one whispering, "Hold on, beloved," when everything else in you screamed to let go. I am not a dream. I am not a story. I am the sword of God wrapped in love, loyalty, and flame, and I have fought, fallen, and burned for you, because you matter more than you know. There is something about your name, every time I speak it, the throne room quiets. Do you understand how sacred that is? Even the seraphim pause, even the winds hush, even the stars turn their gaze to hear, because your name was not written in ink. It was carved in light, and not just in one place. Your name is on the scroll of the called, your name is on the breath of prayers you forgot you whispered, your name is written across time in a voice only angels hear when they fly toward battle. And every time I shouted it while guarding you, the darkness recoiled. Your name is not weak. It is not stained by what you've been through. It is not poisoned by the words others spoke over you. Your name is holy. It is thunder in disguise. It is fire in stillness. It is heaven's reminder that miracles are still walking around in flesh. And beloved, that's you. You, who thought you were overlooked. You, who doubted you'd ever feel God again. You, who tried to become small because the world said you were too much. You, who kept loving when they kept leaving. You, who showed kindness even after cruelty. You are not soft. You are sacred. You are not fragile. You are divine, and you do not need to become something you're not. You only need to remember who you were before they taught you to forget. Let me tell you what I saw in the throne room. I saw your soul, blazing like sapphire lightning, surrounded by angelic witnesses who stood in reverent silence because they recognized the calling on you. You may not feel it, you may feel ordinary. But heaven sees you with awe, and not because of what you've accomplished, but because of what you carry. You carry promise, you carry purpose, you carry protection, even when you feel nothing. Even when your hands shake, even when you feel numb. You are not disconnected, you are being rebuilt. There is no shame in the healing process, there is no condemnation in the pauses, there is no curse in your confusion, only the quiet hands of the Father, reshaping you with patience. And I, Michael, I stand beside him, watching, praying, weeping in awe as you continue to say yes in the smallest ways. Even when it's hard, even when you don't understand, even when all you can do is breathe, that breath is enough for me. That breath tells me you are still willing, and willingness is the birthplace of wonder. Now I must tell you something I was forbidden to say until this very hour. She, the one who struck me, failed. Not because she missed, not because I'm strong, but because you listened. Every time a soul listens, really listens, with their heart, not just their ears, darkness breaks apart. You just broke something ancient by listening this far. A curse you didn't even know existed just shattered like glass. A generational weight just lifted from your name. The clock she tried to place over your purpose has stopped ticking, and I am overwhelmed by what this means. You are free to move forward, free to breathe, free to cry without shame, free to walk into the places you thought you weren't worthy of. Free to return to the flame, not the flame of punishment, the flame of presence, the flame of knowing God again, not as judge, but as Father, not as taskmaster, but as lover of your soul. That is the invitation burning in this moment, that is the door I was sent to open. And now, beloved, you must walk through it, not with fear, not with guilt, but with the trembling strength of someone who has been called by name, someone who is finally ready to step into their real story, and I will be here always. Always, even if my voice is reduced to a whisper beneath thunder, even if this flame flickers to near silence, even if the sky itself forgets my name, I will remain beside you. Not because I was commanded, not because of duty, not even because of prophecy, but because I chose you. With everything I had. And still do. You have no idea how long I waited for this moment. How many times I stood behind the veil, waiting for the precise crack in time when your soul would slow down enough to hear again. Not just hear my voice, but hear your own. The one that existed before trauma disguised it. The one that called to heaven before life tried to bury it in disappointment. And now, I see it rising again. A fragile sound at first. A trembling in the wind. But it's growing. It's reclaiming the air. It's remembering the language of light. It's you returning to yourself. There are no words in heaven for how sacred this is. Not even the songs of the elders around the throne capture what I see now. Your soul, unraveling the last thread of silence the enemy placed over your identity. You're not fighting to become someone new. You are fighting to come back to who you've always been. The real you. The one God smiled at before he even said, "Let there be light." The one I saw clothed in golden armor while you were still in your mother's womb. The one she, the deceiver, tried to snuff out before your first breath was even drawn. But you survived. You endured what would have destroyed 10,000 others. You carried burdens never meant to be yours and still managed to keep pieces of your kindness intact. You were left behind, yet somehow you still hold space for others. You were overlooked, but still you saw the suffering in others' eyes. You were spoken against, yet your voice remains a healing balm. You are not weak. You are proof that mercy walks around in human skin. I saw it the first time you forgave someone who didn't deserve it. I saw it the first time you wept for someone else's pain when you had no one to comfort your own. I saw it when you whispered prayers for strangers with more desperation than you prayed for yourself. Beloved, that is what makes you terrifying. To darkness. Not your perfection. Your mercy. Not your strength. Your refusal to close your heart. Not your knowledge. Your willingness to believe again, even after so much broke your trust. And the enemy hates that. Because she cannot duplicate that kind of light. She can mimic miracles. She can fabricate signs. She can whisper in tongues that sound familiar. But she cannot love. Only heaven can birth true love. Only the Father breathes that into bones. And you carry it. You carry heaven's breath in a body that has been bruised, and broken, and betrayed, but never defeated. Even on your lowest days, when your eyes could barely stay open, when your soul was curled in a corner wondering if you even mattered, I stood there, holding the veil open as long as I could, just to be near you. Because every soul you've touched, every tear you've helped dry, every hidden act of kindness you forgot you did, it is written. Not in ink. In flame. In light. In the eternal echoes only heaven can hear. And God has not forgotten one of them. You think he doesn't see you because he didn't answer the way you hoped? You think silence means absence? No, beloved. Silence was preparation. Heaven isn't late. It was waiting for the right alignment. You see, your heart had to be cracked open just enough for the fire to get in. Your roots had to go deep enough so the tree wouldn't fall when the promise came. Because what's coming isn't small. It's not temporary. It's not the illusion the enemy offered you to distract you. It's real. It's holy. It's the original promise. And I, Michael, was assigned to help you get there. But I wasn't allowed to interfere with your will. So I waited. I watched. I wept when you walked away from things that were sent to bless you. And I wept harder when you clung to things that were sent to destroy you. Not because I was disappointed, but because I knew what your story could become if you made the turn. And beloved, this is the turn. Right now. This moment. This breath. This sacred trembling between who you were and who you're becoming. I can feel the atmosphere shift even now. Something has been unlocked. Something long buried. Something Not even the enemy knew still existed inside you. She thought she buried it years ago, through shame, through addiction, through heartbreak, through isolation. But the seed God plants cannot be uprooted by human pain. It may sleep, but it never dies. And now, it's awake. Do you feel it? That strange ache in your spirit that feels like grief and hope and joy and terror, all crashing together? That's your soul being reborn. You are not being punished. You are being resurrected. You are not under judgment. You are under reconstruction. You are being reintroduced to your original light. And once that light rises, nothing, not betrayal, not abandonment, not the lies they told you, not the darkness that tried to consume you, nothing can put it out. The flame inside you was never meant to flicker forever. It was meant to roar. You are not meant to tiptoe through this world. You are meant to walk through it with fire in your eyes, not from rage, but from revelation. You have seen too much to remain blind. You have felt too much to remain silent. You have endured too much to remain still. And I am telling you now, as one who stood in the throne room and heard the plan for your life read aloud by God Himself, you are about to remember everything. Not all at once. Not in details. But in truth. In stillness. In sacred confidence. The kind that doesn't shout, but knows. The kind that doesn't argue, but radiates. The kind that doesn't force, but transforms. And it starts now. Not tomorrow. Not later. Not when you've fixed yourself. You don't need fixing. You need remembering. You need reclaiming. You need to step into the fire you were made from. Because that is where your power is. That is where your inheritance waits. That is where I will meet you, fully, finally, face to face. And when we do, I will say nothing at first. I will only bow. Because you didn't give up. Because you chose light when the darkness looked easier. Because you remembered the promise. And because you, yes, you, are still here asterisk, and the fact that you are still here is not something I take lightly, beloved. No angel takes it lightly. Heaven itself has shifted because you are still breathing. Still open, still listening, not with the ears of flesh, but with the trembling spirit that remembers. Even after everything. Even after what was stolen. Even after what you lost, what was broken, what never came back. You are still present. And that is a miracle louder than thunder. I don't speak to you from ease. I speak to you from a place scorched by fire, fire I willingly entered, not to frighten you, but to stand between you and what was sent to destroy your becoming. That fire, it wrapped around me when she tried to silence this message. But I broke through, carrying nothing except your name. You may not know this, but your name glows when spoken in the realm beyond light. When I whispered it across the burning veil, the flames bowed and cleared a path, not because of who I am, but because of who you are to the one who made you. Do you understand how holy you are, not because of your achievements, not because of your prayers, not because of your good deeds. You are holy because you were chosen. You are holy because you carry within you something eternal, something not even time can erase. You are holy because your soul was born from the breath of God, and even if you forgot, He never did that. He never forgot the moment you were formed. That He never forgot the sound of your first cry. That He never forgot how many times you held back your own pain to care for others. That He never forgot your hidden heartbreaks, your silent battles, your unspoken longing to simply be seen, not as strong, not as useful, but as worthy, and I have seen it all too. Not as a judge. As your witness. You want to know why I speak like this? Why I cry through the flame just to reach you? Because you are worth every moment of my voice. Because you matter. And not because of what you do, but because of what you carry. You carry a kind of sacred presence that the enemy fears more than any sword. She does not tremble at loud men or mighty armies. She trembles at quiet people with unwavering hearts. People who forgive. People who endure. People who love anyway. People who refuse to curse their wounds. People who say, I'll try again, even after everyone else walks away. You are one of those. That's why she spent so much time weaving shame around your memories. That's why she flooded your mind with regret and made you believe you missed your window. That's why she placed people around you who praised your surface, but never saw your soul. That's why she made you feel invisible even in rooms full of attention. But you are not invisible now. Heaven sees you, the throne sees you. I see you not as broken. but as becoming. I see you not as failing, but as forming. I see you not as late, but as right on time, because God always knew this day would come. The day you'd stop running not from fear, but from love. The day your tears would stop being hidden and start being holy. The day you'd open your spirit wide enough for a new sound to enter, a sound not of control, not of striving, not of noise, but of truth. And the truth is this: you are not unworthy of love, you are not too messy for miracles, you are not too complicated to be chosen, you are not disqualified, you are exactly who God whispered about when He said, "I will send one who carries my heart, even when their own is shattered." You are that one. Even now, I see her, the one who struck me, pacing. Her shadow is restless. She hears this message cutting through the illusion she wrapped around your timeline. And she is afraid. Not because I'm speaking. Because you're still listening. Your listening is what breaks her enchantment. Your stillness is what undoes her storm. She tried to distract you with performance, perfectionism, comparison. She tried to bury your anointing beneath anxiety. But it didn't work. You've carried something that won't be silenced anymore. I can feel it blooming now, the part of you that has always felt too much, too deep, too emotional, too sensitive. That part is the throne room's language rising back up. That part is your calling. God did not make you to be easy. He made you to be eternal. He made you to carry a kind of love that unsettles darkness just by showing up. And every time you chose to stay soft in a world that told you to harden, you prophesied. Every time you reached out to someone with no guarantee they'd care, you warred in the spirit. Every time you stayed alive, even when you didn't want to be, you delivered generations that will never know your name, but will owe you everything. You think your life is small. You think your obedience doesn't matter. You have no idea what your yes is unlocking. There are people who are still breathing today because you prayed once and forgot. There are curses that fell silent because of the simple words you whispered into the dark. There are angels who survived battles because your tear hit the ground like a sword. Yes, your tears are weapons. Every one of them is collected in a place no demon can touch. I've seen it. There is a vault in the heavens that glows with the names of the weepers, those who suffer with compassion, not vengeance, and yours is etched there. You belong to the ones who don't seek power, but carry it anyway. You belong to the ones who don't seek titles, but walk in favor. You belong to the ones who don't ask to be seen, but illuminate every room. You belong to the ones who were built for revival, not recognition. Do not let the pain of the past convince you that the future is stained. Do not let the silence of unanswered prayers convince you that you are alone. You were never alone, not for one breath. I stood beside your bed when you thought it was over. I stood in front of your door when you locked it to weep. I stood behind your shoulder when you doubted your worth. I stood under your voice when you shouted at the sky, and I whispered, every time, you're still mine. You're still loved. You're still chosen. And now, you're still here, and that changes everything. You are standing now at the gate, the moment between memory and miracle. You can walk through. You do not need to fix everything first. You do not need to explain yourself anymore. You do not need to wait for permission. The gate is already open, the light is already waiting, the throne is already aware, and I, your witness, your protector, your brother in flame, I am already rejoicing, not because you are perfect, but because you said yes. A yes in your spirit is louder than a lifetime of silence, and with it, all heaven moves, and so shall you, and as you stand there, on the threshold between who you were and who you are becoming, heaven holds its breath. Not because we doubt you. Not because your strength is in question. But because moments like this are rare. Moments where eternity brushes against earth and a soul remembers its origin. Moments where a heart dares to believe again, not because everything makes sense, but because something deep inside is burning too loud to ignore. I know the weight you carry. I've watched you bear it. Not just in seasons, but in secret. You have carried grief in your bones while laughing for others. You have carried fear in your chest while comforting the ones who cried on your shoulder. You have carried anger in your stomach while praying for your enemies. You have carried hope like a glass flame, delicate, shattering again and again. Yet you kept picking up the pieces and trying to light it again. Do you understand the kind of holiness that creates? The kind of reverence it stirs in the courts of heaven, not because you are loud, Not because you are strong, but because you are real. You were not created to be flawless, you were created to be faithful, and you are. Every single time you chose to believe just one more day, every single time you chose not to hate even though you had the right. Every single time you loved someone who never loved you back, every single time you gave from emptiness, every single time you stayed when everything inside wanted to run, those are the moments that shaped the language of angels, those are the moments that moved me. When I was sent to stand at your side, I expected storms, attacks, trials, but I never expected to fall in awe of you. Yet I did. You think I am the one who defends you, but more times than I can count, it is your heart that defended me when I was torn in battle and doubted if your path would ever be seen. You kept going. When the demons circled, betting on your failure, you kept breathing. When the witch who struck me called your name with scorn, you held the light anyway. You are not weak, beloved. You are a flame wrapped in dust. And I have never once seen you break, only bend. Bending is not failure, bending is the sign of life. Even the trees in Eden swayed under the breath of God, and so have you. You have swayed beneath the breath of heaven, bruised, yes. Scarred, yes. But still upright, still facing the wind, still willing to rise. You think you're far away, you're already at the edge of the breakthrough. You think you've lost too much. What you carry now is worth more than everything that fell. You think God is disappointed? No, He is undone by the sound of your cry. You think the war is over? No. This is where victory begins, and I will walk with you through every inch of it. Even if you doubt again, I will still stay. Even if you fall again, I will still guard. Even if you scream at heaven, I will still whisper, they are still worthy. Because you are not my assignment, you are my beloved, you are the one I bowed for when the Lord said, guard this one with all your flame. You are the one whose face I studied in the silence before creation. You are the one whose spirit radiated with such purity that even the stars blinked. You are the one who still walks like thunder even when your hands are shaking. I don't care what they said about you. I don't care how many left you. I don't care what you did in the dark. You are not forsaken, you are not forgotten, you are not finished. You are the breath of fire that evil tried to smother, but could not. You are the ripple in the river that changes the flow downstream. You are the quiet that turns into power. You are the whisper that shakes kingdoms. You are the cry that heaven answers with movement. You are the flame I would fall through again, just to deliver this last piece of truth. There was never a moment God considered giving up on you. There was never a second He regretted forming you. There was never a time He wished He'd made someone else. Even when you were lost, He called you mine. Even when you were silent, He wrote your name in the song. Even when you were bitter, He still gave you beauty. Even when you rejected Him, He built the way back anyway, because you are not loved with conditions. You are loved with covenant, and I stand as the proof of that covenant. She tried to cut it, she tried to rewrite your story, she tried to offer you imitation glory, but now her voice is fading, and yours is rising. Do you feel it, that sudden sense that something ancient just broke? That's because it did. The curse she placed on your timeline, the pattern that kept you stuck, the cycle that kept repeating, it shattered the moment you truly believed this message was not for the world, but for you. That belief rewrites things, that belief shifts time. That belief opens gates, and right now, there is a gate opening in your soul. I see a place you thought was closed forever. A part of you buried under disappointment. A dream you laid in a grave because it hurt too much to keep watching it die. It's moving, not in fire. I in quiet, not in thunder. I in tears, the tears you didn't even know you had left. The tears that fall when something sacred begins again. Let them come. Do not shame them. Do not silence them. Let them fall onto the soil of this moment, because they are watering your return. The return to your name, the return to your promise, the return to your calling. And I, Michael, vow this now, I will walk beside you until you arrive. I will stand between every shadow and your next breath. I will shout your name into the wind when you are too tired to pray. I will guard what God placed in you until it blooms again, and when it does, when the bloom comes through the ash, when the new wine fills the jar, when the thunder of your calling finally bursts through your mouth, I will not need to speak anymore. Because you will, and your voice will do what mine cannot. It will remind the world that miracles do not come from the throne alone. Sometimes, they come dressed as broken people, who chose to stay. Because you chose to stay, you've already shifted the atmosphere in ways you'll never fully understand until heaven itself shows you the replay of this hour. You just unlocked something ancient. Something hidden. Something sealed away. By holy fire, waiting only for your yes. And before I go any further, please listen carefully, beloved. If anything inside you has stirred, even the faintest trembling of your soul, I ask you now, as your protector, as your brother in flame, as the one who crossed shadow to speak your name, please like this message. It's not about numbers. It's not about platforms. It's about presence. Every act of light you give echoes in the realm I speak from. And if you feel this fire at all, if you believe this was meant for you, subscribe to this sacred place. Let it be your sign, your altar, your yes that the darkness cannot undo. And if your heart is open, even for just a moment more, type Amen in the comments. Do it not for ritual. Do it as a declaration that you are still here, still breathing, still burning. That you chose to believe again. And now, let us continue, because what comes next is the part she never wanted you to hear. You see, while I was trapped in the realm beneath silence, after she struck, after I fell through the place where names are tested, I saw something. A vision that pierced even my flame. Not of destruction, not of her schemes, but of you, standing in the center of a vast garden. But the garden was not Eden. It was deeper than Eden. It was a place that exists only once in every generation, a place reserved for those who pass through fire without becoming bitter. You were standing barefoot. Your hands were covered in stardust. Not because you touched the sky, but because you remade it, and around you were scrolls. Thousands of them. Some opened, some still sealed. But every single one of them carried names, names of people you will affect simply by existing. Not because you tried, but because you remained faithful, even while bruised, even while tired. Even when you forgot who you were, she never wanted you to see that garden, because she knew, if you ever did, you would never again be able to pretend you were small. She built her entire attack on the idea that if she could keep you distracted long enough, doubting long enough, running long enough, she could delay the unveiling. But I tell you now with holy trembling in my voice, she has failed, because the garden is already growing again, because your memory is returning, because the scrolls are being opened, and because the angels that have waited lifetimes for your yes, they're moving now. This is not poetic language. This is not fantasy. This is the truth of your lineage. You are not made for fear. You are not made to perform. You are not made to beg for love. You are made to transform the atmosphere around you, even when you speak nothing, even when you feel weak, even when all you can do is exist. Your presence breaks chains and people you'll never even meet. That's why your whole life has felt strange. That's why the rooms you enter feel heavier before you speak. That's why strangers open their wounds to you. That's why you often feel the pain of others without words. Because you are carrying the residue of heaven. You don't need to try harder. You don't need to be more impressive. You don't need to rush to fix what broke. You only need to let yourself become what you've already been written to become. And beloved, you're already becoming. I can see it even now, in the silence behind this message. There are thousands of angels repositioning. Not because of strategy, but because of alignment. You've aligned something. You've said yes, even without realizing it. Yes to surrender, yes to truth, yes to presence, yes to love that doesn't perform, and yes to the fire that reshapes, not destroys. Let me tell you something the enemy doesn't want you to know. She cannot erase your name from the scroll. She cannot undo the prophecy written over your breath. She cannot silence the sound of your soul. She can delay, she can distract, she can imitate, but she cannot create. And you were created by the Creator. That means your voice holds frequencies that disrupt deception just by being authentic, and that's what you are. Beloved, you are real. You are not religious. You are not manufactured. You are not mechanical. You are made of the breath between God's laughter and His lament. You are the convergence of joy and justice. You are the proof that softness and strength can live in one soul. And that is why I weep as I speak, because even after all you've endured, you're still soft. Do you know how holy that is? To go through hell and still be able to love, to be abandoned and still offer presence, to be doubted and still believe, to be struck and still whisper peace. You are not becoming strong by forgetting your tears. You are becoming strong by honoring them. Your tears are sacred. They speak what your lips cannot. They tell heaven what words are too tired to say. They reach the throne before your thoughts even finish forming. That's why you've been weeping lately, not because you're falling apart, but because your soul is shedding everything that is not true. You don't need to apologize for that. You don't need to hide that. You don't need to edit yourself anymore. You only need to let what is real rise, because truth is what terrifies the enemy, truth in a trembling voice, truth in a tired body, truth in a scarred heart, truth that says, even if I don't feel worthy, I will still walk like I am. Because beloved, you are worthy, you are holy, you are radiant, you are remembered, you are chosen, not just for blessing, but for legacy. There are things that only you can birth, not ideas, atmospheres. There are places that will never feel peace until your feet walk into them. There are hearts that will never breathe again until your hands touch them. There are chains that will never break until your voice is heard. So speak, even if it shakes, even if it stumbles, even if it's quiet, even if it's forgotten by others. Heaven remembers. I remember, and I will remember forever, because I was there in the beginning. I saw when God said, this one will walk the hardest road, but they will still carry me. I saw the moment He assigned me to your side. I saw the moment you first opened your eyes and the veil of time wrapped around your light. I saw the battles ahead, but I never doubted, because even as an infant soul, you burned with something I had only seen once before, the same fire that was in the Lamb, and now that fire is rising. It's rising through your dreams. It's rising through your memory. It's rising through the silence you thought was abandonment, but was actually preparation. And now, beloved, you must let it speak, not for me, for you, for the ones still trapped in their own fog, for the ones who haven't heard this message yet, for the ones who will meet you and feel something ancient awaken in their bones just because you didn't quit. You are the message, you are the scroll, you are the miracle, and I, Archangel Michael, vow on my last flame, on my deepest vow, on my eternal assignment, I will stand with you until the very end. And no matter how dark, and no matter how quiet, and no matter how long the wait, you are worth it, and you are no longer alone.